Greetings, Dr. Steffi here. Today, let's talk about how to master delegation because let's face it, without being able to delegate effectively, you you cannot grow your business as far as you want most likely to grow it. Am I right? Because you're going to bump against your own bandwidth. So, let's talk about four common mistakes that business owners generally make in that area and how you can overcome them. I want to actually give you concrete tips on how to do this. All right, so let's start with the first one, which is to refuse to let go of control. Just a couple of days ago, I talked to a very capable business owner who said, I feel very protective about the knowledge that I have acquired and the skills that I have gained. So it's hard for me to let go of that. And I get it. So the tip there is think about, why did you start this business? And so in her case, initially she started the business because she wanted to do what her passion is and she wanted to work with her sister. But then very soon it became about helping their clients. She realized, man, we really are making a difference with our clients. And so it became about the clients. And this, by the way, is, I think, really, typical. And it's the right way to go, that your business has to be bigger than just serving, being about what you get out of it. It has to be for your clients or your customers. That has to be your number one focus. And then the rest will follow from that. Now, she realized that currently she's serving this many clients. And when she can scale up and delegate, then she can serve many, many more clients. And that is the tip I want to give you on the first one. Basically give yourself permission to give up some control. But of course, that brings us to, how do you actually do that? Well, so the second trap that people generally fall into is incomplete training. Well, there's several reasons why that could happen. One is lack of time. That's common. And the second one, though, is that effective knowledge transfer can be very difficult. And the reason for that is there's really two types of knowledge. There's the knowledge that you know you have, and then there's also the knowledge that you don't even remember you have. Is subconscious. It's subconscious knowledge, or what I call brilliance, which is the sum of expertise, experience, wisdom, all of those good things. And it sits in the back of your brain. So you may be thinking that you tell someone, here's what you do. You do this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. 5 steps, right? Then they go off and they do it, and they come back and and you see that it wasn't done right. And that's just, oh, I thought it would be difficult to delegate. And see, I was right. But actually, the instructions were incomplete because there might have been 2 or 3 or 4 more steps. And I go through this with my husband, for example, to give you just a silly example. In the beginning of our marriage, he would sometimes start cooking something and then leave and say, Steffi, can you finish this off? And I'd be like, whoa, 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 what do I do? And he'd be like, do this, 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 5 things. And then he comes back and he takes a spoon and he tries the food and he says, did you do that? And this and this? I said, well, you didn't say to do this and this and this. You said do that and that and that, 5 things. And now all of a sudden it's 8. But he would say, well, everyone knows that. Well, I said, well, I don't know that. And this is what's happening in our businesses every day. And the reason is, as I said, these 3 steps that my husband didn't even think to tell me because, well, he didn't think of them. And even when I called him on it, he said, well, everyone knows that. But not everyone knows that. And that is the second mistake that people fall into all the time. And that leads to the third one, which is micromanaging. just imagine my husband like hovering over my shoulders, while I'm cooking this thing that he knows how to cook, but I may not know how to cook, right? So, and that happens in our businesses as well, micromanaging. So really what is the answer here is we must get a way to actually get all the steps out there. Well, how do you do that? Well, that's actually what we do with Brilliance Mining, but I'm going to give you a couple of quick tips you can use today, all right? Because that's my goal here, is to help you right now. When you delegate, either write down the steps, so when something goes wrong, you can say, well, what went wrong? And then you put these additional steps in. If you just do this verbally, that's very difficult to do, right? Because no one can necessarily even remember what you said. Which steps did you mention, which steps did you not mention? The other thing is you could ask the person you give the instructions to write that down so you don't have to. Another option is you could actually video that. And in fact, I always say, never do any sort of training or delegation, ideally without recording it somehow. And that will make light years of difference for this. And then the fourth trap that business owners fall into is they just give up. They give up delegating the difficult things. They give up delegating the things that has a significant amount of subconscious knowledge in it, because it's not so easy to do that, as we just talked about. But again, think about the cost of that decision. Basically, scaling up your business means you are now killing yourself, because it takes so much of your bandwidth. But I have heaps of clients who basically they are able to grow their business, and actually their work-life balance increases towards having more life. Like a client who grows their business by 50% in less than a year and has enough information to actually franchise his business. And in the meantime, while all this is happening, he goes on 2 vacations, he goes hunting, he goes cruising, he does woodworking. I mean, that is possible for you. So in summary, let's go over those 4 things one more time. The first one we talked about is to refuse to let go of control. So the solution to that is to make sure that you become aware of, why am I doing this anyway? Who am I serving? And would I like to serve more people? How different would that feel to me? All right. And then to realize that in order to serve more people, you have to find a way to give up more of that control. Second, incomplete training. To realize that there's conscious knowledge you have and unconscious or subconscious knowledge that you also have, and that is harder to access. And we talked about a few ways of actually getting at that. And if you want more help on that, I invite you to go to my website as well as my YouTube channel, and I'm going to link those below. And then there's a lot of free resources that will help you. All right. And number 3, we talked about micromanaging, which is really a result of the problems we talked about before, especially the incomplete training. So micromanaging can go away once you are sure that the training actually is complete and that you can trust your people to do that. By the way, that also sends a really powerful message to your people. Hey, this person is trusting us. And so, as you set that expectation, usually the right people, if you have the right people on your team, they will step up to that. And then the 4th one we talked about is giving up to delegate. And again, you have to make yourself aware of what the cost is of doing that, and whether you really would like to, are you really saying yes to giving up your life, the rest of your life, which has to do with your family and whatever adventures you want to go on and whatever other plans you may have? Is that really what you want to do? And if not, these other 3 things we just talked about will get you there. So you can give up on the idea of giving up on delegation. All right, again, go to my website, thebrilliancemine.com, and the YouTube channel of the same name. And there's more information there that you can use to master delegation, increase your impact, and of course your income, as well as get your work-life balance back on track. Ciao.